Welcome to the show, Beatrice Jin. I'm so excited to have you here. Thank you for agreeing to speak with me. You are a black belt in Jiu Jitsu. You are the queen of lethal ankle locks and twisting body parts into directions they shouldn't go. And I met you. Well, I've been seeing some of your content online. You have a very big Instagram following and create amazing, funny, educational content. And then I saw you at the IBJJF competition where your art, your martial arts, your expertise impressed me, and I asked you to be on the show. So thank you for being here today with me.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I think it was like amazing that like I was at the Atlanta Open, you happened to be at my mat, and then like we like I like happened to be on the sidelines watching my friend, and we happened to meet and talk, and then we got to like be on this podcast together. So yeah, it's awesome. Thank you for having me.
I agree with you how things work like that together. It's funny because after I asked to interview you and wanted to just, pick your brain on all things jujitsu and martial arts, mental health, music, I suddenly started putting one and one together. And I go, wait a minute, that's that funny chick I've been seeing on Instagram. I'm a huge fan of Gaidama, rash guards, and then I saw that you work with them, and my sister follows you, and so I was like, hold on, I know this woman more than I realized.
That's so funny.
I love
Yeah,
it.
yeah. I'm glad I'm kind of glad that like people don't know me for like everything together, because that way like it's kind of like a competitive edge, like
Yes,
competitors, they look me up and they're like, oh, she's just funny, like we don't have to take her seriously. And so
yes.
I feel like I get a little element of surprise there. I also kind of if people think I'm like just funny and they realize that I'm also good at jujitsu, I feel like it's like also like a nice surprise effect and like lends a little bit of credibility. Yeah, I'm glad to like hear this from a third party as
Yes.
well.
I,
Yeah.
I agree that which makes sense because psychology and those things are a big part of my background and what our channel often is about. I always love finding ways to connect, tie it in and connect it. And I think that what you just said already sheds light on, I think, a very understandable human desire is that we don't want to be boxed in and we want to be known for more than just being the sum of all our parts. You are a person and there's many facets to you and different roles you play. So I understand, I can empathize with why you enjoy when different people see different parts of you.
Yeah, totally. I mean, your channel's about like five different things. I think it's mostly music, right? But
Yeah.
clearly you've like approached it from many different angles as well.
Yeah, exactly. And that's important to me because I do think that everything's connected. And I like finding ways to address people and focus on their individuality, but also find ways how it ties in. And so that leads me to my first question. Who are you? I guess that's a very broad question, but instead of just asking, well, what led you to jujitsu and, why do you do what you do? Maybe let's go back just a little bit more. What defines Beatrice? What do you feel makes you you?
Oh my God. Okay, I don't know. I guess since I was a kid, I always wanted to be an artist. And I actually like wanted to go to art school. Like I had a whole portfolio of like paintings and like comics and like all of that stuff ready. So I grew up like always wanting to be an artist and always like wanting to tell stories. I made this like 6-page comic about how all of my classmates died on an island, and like
Wow.
everyone loved that. Like it was just like an adventurous, like you include people that you know, people love art being made about them. And I feel like, oh man, like I haven't like thought about this for so long, but when you asked that question, I feel like yeah, I've always wanted to tell stories, but I just like didn't like have a story to tell. I mean, I have a life, but I feel like it was like hard to make a story out of it. And I was always so jealous of like fiction writers who are just like they always like had something to say, like something to make. So I feel like since like going through this jujitsu journey of like white to black belt, I feel like that was like a good story. And now I'm like starting to make content about like different parts of the journey. So I think maybe that's like the base level motivation of everything that's happening. And like every competition is like a little story to tell, and then like all of that leads up to a bigger story. So I don't know, like I guess if I had to say it, I would be like, I'm an artist and storyteller. But I ended up studying like math in college. I was doing a journalism like job before doing jujitsu full time. So like kind of like dabbled in everything.
I absolutely love that. I really appreciate how you said storytelling because I don't think I've ever heard anyone speak of jujitsu in that way. I know it means different things to different people, and I'm learning that there's so much psychology behind it, not only to the art itself and the movement and the physics behind how our body moves and all the possibilities of the puzzle, but also what it means to people. And as I've been interviewing different experts in various fields, it continues to fascinate me how everyone relates to whatever they're passionate about in a different way and for different reasons. But storytelling is new to me. I really, really love that. So you would say before you're even a martial artist, you would say you are an artist first.
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
And
Okay.
this is, like I guess, like, it's, like, super top of mind. I don't know if you've been following the Winter Olympics, but,
A
like,
bit.
the first American to win a gold medal since 2006, I think she got the gold medal yesterday. Her name's Alyssa Liu, and she retired 4 years ago, and then she decided that she wanted to unretire, but she only wanted to ice skate for fun and for her own happiness. And, like, when she, like, performed yesterday, it was, like, this, like, magical moment. Everyone talked about it. It was like, man, she was the only person out there who looked like she was, like, really having fun. And in her, like, post interview, she like, they asked her the same question, "Do you think of yourself as an athlete or an artist first?" And she said, "Oh, like, no question about it, as I'm an artist," you know? Like, being an athlete is just, like, something, like I mean, I think you could just like, almost anyone can become an athlete, you know what I mean? Just by, like, training and, like, getting stronger, faster, whatever. But it felt like the artist was like her like who she was, like as a personality. Like, she was like born that way. That's how she always wanted to express herself. And so I thought that was very beautiful. So maybe that's why I'm saying that I'm an artist right now, but also like I feel like I share some similarities there.
I
Not as a
really
well,
love that.
yeah,
No,
not as
no,
a
but I'm following. You're what you do in life, in your martial arts, is your story and your way of storytelling, and it is your art. It makes sense. I mean, quite frankly, the bit of jujitsu that I've seen that you do, I would say it was a work of art. I mean, not to,
yeah.
blow smoke on, in unfairly. I really mean that. When I watched your jujitsu, I was very not only entertaining, but it was very artistic. And also, I have no idea how your opponent just like survived that ankle lock. There was body parts were being twisted into areas I didn't realize they could be twisted into, and you just did not give up. But what I thought was so beautiful, without going into all the details of all the things you did in that particular match I watched, I'm impressed by how, and I understand, you as a black belt, you are so much more experienced. So I know you understand the physics and all the possibilities more than I would at a blue belt level. But it fascinates me to see that understanding of space and timing and body parts and movement, and your resilience of not giving up. Every time your opponent turned her leg in ways that I didn't even realize a leg could or should turn, you found new ways to get her back into a position that you wanted her into. And it was not just, well, this doesn't work, so let me move on to the next thing. It was this constant revisiting of the painting you're trying to create and the story you're trying to tell, but you kept coming at it from different angles until you were able to finish it in the exact moment or the exact way you wanted to. Does that work all the time when it comes to the martial arts, when you are doing jujitsu? How much does technique, resilience, trying over and over again, how much does that play into being successful at this sport, at
Oh,
this
that's such a
art?
good question. Man, like I think actually that's why the first question you had, like, are you like a martial artist athlete or an artist? Like that is a kind of a hard question to answer. But I think like to be an artist, you still have to understand the rules, right? So like to have a high level of art, you also have to have a high level of technicality in martial arts, in skating, in drawing, in music, right? Like
Right?
if you asked a beginner just to come up with whatever song they wanted, it'd probably be like a really terrible song.
Yeah.
Because they wouldn't understand, like, what
Yeah.
the chords are supposed to go together, how you progress, crescendo, whatever, those kind of things. And I think it's the same thing with jujitsu, right? Like, a blue belt can certainly, I mean, I'm sure there are blue belts who, like, come up with, like, really amazing things and they can be creative on the mats and feel like themselves. But I really feel like, like, white and blue belt especially, I feel like they experience a lot more, like, survival and, like, the
Yes.
fight. Like, you have to, like, just fight, you know? And I feel like when closer to brown and black belt, you'll see a lot more people like really love the sport because they feel like they're actually expressing themselves, right? So that they can be like more creative, they can find different openings. And also you're just more relaxed because like you said, we have a little bit more understanding of the space around us, where our bodies are. And so that will allows us to have more information to take risks accordingly. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I think like that's how it would play together. It's a hard question. I think the creativity definitely comes after a level of technical mastery, and they like build on themselves for sure. But I think you need information to start with.
Yeah. That makes sense. When did you start with jujitsu again? When was your first entry into the sport, and what led you to start?
I started in 2018, so almost 8 years ago.
Okay.
I originally played badminton. like fairly competitive, nothing at this level, but I played it like pretty competitively. And I just like, that was the way that I made friends was through sports, right? Through like something physical that we all did together, like a shared goal. And there's just no badminton in the DC area that was accessible.
Yeah.
And I didn't really have a good experience with like the one person I met. So I, uh, I just wanted to start something new, and jujitsu was across the street. And it was actually the same time as the Winter Olympics, around this time. And I had just seen some people do ice skating. And I thought that was so cool. And then the ice skating rink was closed, and across the ice skating rink was jujitsu. So instead of going to ice skating, I did jujitsu, and then here we
Wow,
are.
I
Who
love
knows?
that.
Maybe in an alternate timeline of some like senior ice skating champion. Who
Yes,
knows?
you brought home gold in the alternate universe
Yeah.
of jiu-jitsu, of the Olympics, of ice skating. And in this universe, you bring home gold as a martial artist. I love that. You know, do you remember any of the feelings you had when you were in the white and blue belt phase? Was there predominant excitement? Was there exhaustion? Was there overwhelm? Or what feelings would you say were had the majority of your heart and your mind?
I definitely wanted to be good, but I didn't had no idea that like this is like what I would be doing. Like I didn't feel like I would be like this competitive as a black belt. I think for the most part, honestly, at white and blue belt, it was like every time I did jujitsu, I felt like relief. It was just like everyone else who starts jujitsu, you know, you like exercise and you have this like amazing feeling of accomplishment, no matter how badly you did, like
Yeah,
in terms of winning or losing, you know,
yeah.
I feel like you worked out as hard as you could for your life. And then you like did something like good today, you know? So that was definitely most of my white and blue belt. And I like had like little competition goals, but they were all like local tournaments, nothing like super big at that time. Just enjoying the journey, you know? You can't ask for too much at white and blue belt because you just again, you don't have enough information. You're not sure like where you're gonna go with the sport, right? But it's something that like is a big part of your life if you're training. So I'll take it for what it is at that time.
I like that. I hear a level of acceptance. Would that be a fair word to use where you
Definitely.
are invested, there is release, there is of course a benefit, but there's a level of acceptance. Did you have that already at the time or do you have that now in hindsight, now that you have the wisdom of a black belt? Or did you already feel a level of understanding and acceptance then? This is what it is. I don't know anymore. It's okay.
Oh man, okay, that's hard to say. I think I probably had some of it. Although I mean, I was pretty angsty, so maybe not. I have to think about this.
I know it's hard sometimes in hindsight because those feelings are not as fresh anymore. And I
Yeah.
know a lot of times feelings are complex. It might be a mix of all of the above, but I ask, and to a degree, I ask because I find myself in that mix between a lot of that anxiety and the pressure of I know I would know more if I study even harder, but I also feel like there's moments of growth and then there's moments of I know nothing. I am unworthy, take this blue belt. And it goes back and forth
Okay.
between hope and excitement. And I think I'm getting better. Oh, wait a minute. Complete humiliation. Not humiliation in the negative sense. I mean, a humbling, this feeling of
Mhm.
humbling of, wow, this is not just something that's being handed to me. I have to work for this. Hence the question, because I'm intrigued by that growth from the excitement, but also that not knowing to a place of acceptance and peace. I feel like that can bring a lot of not only maturity, but also healing in general in our life and as a whole when we are able to transition to that phase in life. And I hear that from you now at black belt level.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Interesting. Well, I definitely feel like I had like I was working on for sure the acceptance of where I was because
Okay.
even back then, I was very into like Jocko and like, you know, you have to try as hard as you can, like full accountability of all your actions. Anything that's not your fault is still your fault, like that kind of stuff. So, like, you know, accepting like extreme ownership, that kind of
Yeah.
stuff, you know? So I was working on that for sure. Cause if you don't accept where you are, then you can't like work on where you are, you know, like, so like that was like kind of why I was like struggling with it. But
Okay.
I did feel like, what was I gonna say? I did feel like a little pressure on myself to be as good as I can as fast as I can because to be like competitive in the adult division, I felt like I started a little bit late or like maybe like
Okay.
just on time because I started when I was 22 and I'm 29 now and I'm turning
Yeah.
30 and that's when like you know you can move on to masters divisions if you wanted to. And so I felt like not that there's just a rush, but maybe there's like no time to waste.
Okay.
So that like that's why I felt like a little bit more like pressure and not accepting where I was because I was like, oh, I need to do more. I need to do more because time is running out, you know? I
Okay.
think maybe that was like a limiting belief because there's plenty of people who have achieved a lot of great things in the black belt division way
Yeah.
past their 30s, right?
Okay.
But that was kind of like a self-imposed like thing that I had.
Yeah. And was that the case in all areas of your life, would you say? That pressure to perform or everything? I had to laugh with everything that's not your fault is still your fault because I can so relate to that. That's been a huge part of my journey of trying to. And so I can laugh because I can relate. Um, do you feel like that was how you went about life in general? That kind of pressure to be all and to do all?
No, I think it was just jujitsu, honestly. Like that's how I knew that I wanted to do jujitsu like for the rest of my life in a big way because at my job I was not that motivated. Like remember like in the year like through coming up to the time that I was gonna leave my job, my boss like had a serious talk with me and they were like, I saw your goals that you set this year and I kind of like expected a little bit more from you. And I was like I had to like take that and consider also like why are my work goals so like lackluster compared
I
to
see.
jujitsu where I'm like
Okay.
reaching so far. So
Yeah.
yeah, no, it was definitely just jujitsu.
And do you now do jujitsu full time or even for a living, if I may ask, or does that, something you still supplement with other career?
I now run the my gym with my partner full time and I would say like half of that is running the gym and then half of it is training as an athlete. Like I really want to be like a world class athlete.
I love that. I really, really love that. I love how the self-awareness of going, okay, this is the sign that I'm passionate about this, and this is what I want to not only have as a hobby on the side, but my career, that you've made it that. I really appreciate that. What has becoming a black belt done for you when it comes to your sense of self and your mental health? Has it impacted you in any way, positive or negative?
Man, that's okay. Good question. All good questions.
I don't mean to hit you with too deep stuff too soon, but welcome to the show.
Yeah. Like, okay, so I don't know if this is true at all, but I once saw like a post on social media and it was like your sense of identity takes like 2 years to catch up to who you actually are. So like you'll have like imposter syndrome
Yes.
for like once you achieve a certain status, whether it's like monetary or black belt or like
Yes.
whatever it is. And so I feel like at least for me, like the first year at black belt was kind of like this hazy like imposter syndrome. Like I have to win everything I do or else no one's gonna think I'm a good black belt, which is like ridiculous, which is would not apply. Probably 90% of black belts don't even compete. But like for me, I was like, oh, if I don't win this, they're gonna be like I'm fake. So
Yeah.
I definitely felt like black belt came with a little bit of pressure and like responsibility and a very like self-consciousness.
Yeah.
People think about black belt, they have all these things. So maybe it
Yeah.
had less to do with the belt itself, but like how I perceived other people to perceive me.
I see.
Like, yeah, it's been a little bit more than a year now, almost 2 years, and I feel like I'm doing a lot better with that. And also because at black belt, I was doing so much at the gym, I feel like I had to like embody the role of a leader way more. And then on top of that, I also expanded our kids program, so I was teaching kids 5 days a week, and that really makes you just like step it up. You can't like mess up with kids. I feel like, or if you do it. I would feel like so guilty if I like messed up a class or like it didn't go like really well. So I feel like at the same time I got my black belt, I also had all these other things going on. So it made me like think to be a leader more, even though like I don't like really like care so much to be perceived as a leader, but like I feel like I need to be a leader. So
Yeah. Yeah, that you feel like you need to embody what would be expected of a leader or leadership qualities.
yeah,
Am I
yeah,
understanding that
definitely.
correctly?
Yeah, yeah. So it's a little stressful, but also very rewarding, obviously, like, surrounded by people who are asking you questions, looking up to you. So I
Yeah.
think, yeah, it's made me raise the standard for myself too.
I like that. You grew with the challenge. It's interesting how perception, I know we say perception is reality, and quite frankly, it's not. It's our reality, right? But it's interesting to me to hear you say this because as I watch your jujitsu, as I think about your Instagram, which has a large following, which speaks also for the hard work you've put in and how you're resonating with people, you have something to offer. There's clearly something to you as a person, as a brand, as an instructor, as a professor that is resonating, right? I think sometimes we forget that, say, for example, if you are surrounded by people that you appreciate and admire, sometimes I think many people have that tendency to go, wow, all these people are so great. And we forget that you too have attracted that type of crowd. So if people are trusting you with their children, if people are coming to you with questions and they look up to you, it's not just that these people are great because they want to learn and they're wonderful because they trust you with their children. It also means you're great because you're attracting those kinds of people. You're attracting a crowd that you would perceive to be a good crowd, or these are good friends or good people. I think it's often much more of a give and take than we realize. And it's funny to me, not funny, perhaps interesting, that I, for example, who on a personal level, I'm still a stranger to you, I'm watching you do jujitsu and I'm seeing the artistry and I have a lot of respect, right? Fangirling a little bit, going, oh, can I do an interview with you? You know, and hearing you share some of these more personal parts of your mind is just so fascinating to me because it just is this reminder that even like in jujitsu, with body parts working together and space and distance and weight and weight distribution and pressure, there's so many moving parts to the whole that you never really know what the other person's going through. We're all really in our own little realities, perceiving people subjectively, not even realizing, wait a minute, this person may or may not have imposter syndrome or feel this or that way. And all the while, people are just watching you, admiring you from a distance, not knowing the battle in your mind. How do you deal with that? When I know you said it's gotten better now, 2 years in, but knowing what you know now about jujitsu, how do you deal with stepping into that role? You said it has encouraged you to step up as a professor and as a teacher and a coach. But how has it affected you in your personal life? This kind of responsibility, this growth, this the weight of the black belt, just to be dramatic for a second. You know, like you know that people look at you, like I said, we all have our own realities, and I might go, oh my gosh, she's so amazing. And you're living your own life in your day to day. You're, a human being. How does that weight affect you as a black belt?
I feel like I talk about this a lot with my girlfriends because they're like they're also like high powered individuals. But I would say like one big thing that I feel like has influenced me and influenced all of us like in the times where we're all like rising up to responsibility. Like I have one friend who like went through promotion, one friend who became a doctor at 25. Like
Wow.
it's so important to stay surrounding yourself with people like minded people and
Yes.
people who like support like your high achieving goals, right? Man, there was like this quote like like in order to go where you want to go, you don't ask for advice from people who are close to you. You ask advice from people who are where you want to be.
Yeah, yeah.
So
That
like
makes sense.
so like you want to surround yourself with people who have like achieved a little bit more than you, let's say in like different areas of your life. And I can't surround myself with like a million fifth degree black belts, but like I can like, be surrounded by people who are very career driven or whatever. So I feel like we like I don't feel like we're like clicky or exclusive at all, but I feel like we like love hanging out with each other because we're influencing each other like that. And I try not to spend, I mean, I don't really have time to give away, but I try not to spend time with like people that I feel like don't vibe with that. And I think that just keeps you in the right mindset, right? Because like I don't know, I don't want to like be too negative. I just feel like sometimes you will have people who unknowingly drag you down, and it's not because they mean to, it's just because they're just going through a completely different stage of life. And if they're a really good friend, maybe there's like room to like have empathy for them, but otherwise like being careful with your circle I think is like really important.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That who you surround yourself with affects where you're headed and how you look at it. Have you ever received, if I may ask, negative feedback about doing jujitsu in general or even as a black belt? Has there ever been any criticism or active
Well,
attempts to discourage you?
yeah, definitely. So I got my black belt in 6 years, so that was like I would say like pretty fast compared to most people. And I got it because like I had competed a lot and like medaled at all these major tournaments, but that won't satisfy anyone who like wants to hate on you.
Of course.
So I feel like that and like some just like regular personal attacks, and also like I run a gym with my partner, right? So like things can be messy. There's like always gym drama. I don't want to be too specific because I feel like I don't
No,
want to like
you're
pull
okay. Yeah,
any
you can
words.
keep it general.
So,
That's okay. You don't no
yeah,
need to name
yeah,
names. I think we all can
yeah.
relate to what gym drama may mean. I feel like almost every gym has it to some degree at some point.
Yeah, totally. So yeah, I feel like yeah, again like for anything like that, it's again just like really important to one like know what your goals are, and you can think like, okay, is this person like really interfering with like my goals? Like do we really need to like take action against them, or can we just like let them say what they're going to say and no one's going to listen to them because they're just, nobody who
Yeah.
like wants to go on the internet and say something, right? So there was that, and then also just to like have people to remind you, hey, like this is who you are. You know, this rando blue belt who has something to say literally is nobody, and so like why are you like spending so much time on them?
Yeah.
Or like whatever, like whatever the drama is. So like I think maybe that's like a little bit of a cliche answer, like, don't listen to
No.
the haters. Like why would you give them energy that
Yeah.
that they don't
No,
deserve?
I don't think that's cliche at all. I think that we may hear that more frequently, but I think that actually implementing is hard. I think
Mhm.
there is a lot of truth behind choosing carefully, as you said earlier, who you surround yourself with and listening to those who are ahead of you, who you want to be like, but also assessing who is saying what and understanding that people will say all kinds of things for different reasons, and they have to deal with their motives. You have to decide if this is beneficial to your end goal. I think there's a lot of wisdom to that, not cliche at all. What are some of your favorite jujitsu moves or submissions or techniques that you like the most, and why?
Easy question. I like love
Finally, one. Woo!
softball here. I really like leg locks. I used to be really scared of them because I'm white and blue belt. Obviously, most gyms, in general, just don't teach a lot of leg locks. And so when I got my purple belt, I remember I like cried because I was so scared of leg locks. I was like, I can't do grappling industries. Someone is going to rip a heel hook on me. My knee's going to explode. So that made me like really buckle down and study leg locks. And during COVID, my partner and I would set a timer for like 5 minutes and we would just like cycle through all the leg locks and for an hour, And so I memorized all the names and the positions and all that stuff. So that started me on my leg lock journey. And then just since then, I feel like I've been teaching a leg lock class for 3 years, and that has also like pushed me to like keep up with everything. And I love that, like no matter how defensive someone is, right, they can always keep their elbows tight, but they have to keep their feet apart because they gotta stand or they gotta play guard. No one's gonna keep their knees together like
Yeah.
this for the round. So I feel like the legs they're always a little bit more available than the upper body. And so that's kind of like what I've always like gravitated towards. I've actually never been like an armbar person. I don't think I've ever submitted someone with an armbar from the
Okay.
bottom. But yeah, so I would say like leg locks are definitely my thing. I'm a like big guard puller. I don't really do like a lot of takedowns. So I like love thinking about the guard and guard passing, but nothing like super specific there.
Are there any, I love that answer. Are there any submissions like chokes or those kinds of submissions that you prefer if you're not leg locking someone and finishing that way? Any type of choke submissions that you try to go for other than that if you're not in a position or you choose not to do a leg lock?
I have the stats for this. So besides leg locks, my number one submission is a choke from the back. And I love the feeling of a choke from the back because like when you have someone's collars and you're using your legs also to finish the extension, you have like 12 more inches of degrees of freedom to go and they are like locked in, like their head is gonna pop off if they don't tap. Yeah, love a cross collar choke from the back.
Nice. I like it. I love the details of how you're describing it. I can tell you're a black belt. It's like, well, I could do this at 12 degrees and 19 inches. And I'm like, what? I'm glad when I remember where my left and my right hand is at this point. But I love that. Is it, so can I, if I may, just dive a little deeper into what you were saying about the leg locks? And I think it plays even into the chokes from when you have someone's back. You mentioned that fear initially kickstarted you diving into learning leg locks. And you said your fear was being injured. Did I understand that correctly?
Yeah.
Okay. Is that something, how much does that translate into how you go about jujitsu? Would you say that a lot of the things you train are from a defensive standpoint? I need to know this in order to prevent, or is it more on the offensive of I want to learn this so I can be the first to, do this or that? Do you feel like that weaves its way generally through your jujitsu, or was that just particularly with leg locks? That preventive type of training, I guess I could say.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, leg locks, I would say, was definitely the exception because I felt like it was mostly a lack of knowledge. It's like it's not just
Okay.
fear; it's like not knowing when is the right time to tap. And I hear this
Okay.
from students all the time. Like they'll tap so early, like not even close to full extension of a leg lock because they're like, I just don't know what's happening. I'm scared. Like I need my ligaments, which is like fair because they just don't know. It's like a lack of knowledge, right?
Okay.
But I think in general for me, I think for especially if you train for competition, I think it's better and more efficient to train your A game, right? Like everything is just a branch off of like what you like want to do in the match.
Yeah.
And of course that's hard. Like it takes time to like find your A game. So you might like dabble here and there and like find out things, but ultimately like everything like goes back to one thing, right? So like I guess I can say this because if they're watching this to study me, they're already deep into my videos. But like, for example, I play a lot of De La Hiva and X guard, right? So like that means that all the other guards that I play, like they're gonna all eventually go back to De La Hiva and X guard or like reactions off of them. A lot of details about side control escapes, for example. But to be honest, if I wasn't bottom of side control, probably like I would lose the match anyway. So like it's more like bring the match closer to the beginning of the match, right? Where you have
Yeah.
control and yeah, yeah.
I really like this. You know, it's got my engines and my creativity firing because when it comes to jujitsu, first of all, it really encourages me to hear you say this because for me at the level that I'm at right now, and maybe many people, no matter what belt, can relate to this. There's this pressure of thinking I'm not worthy of XYZ unless I know it all. And I find it so encouraging to hear how you're bringing it back down to your game, how you're saying, you know what, this is my strength, this is not. But it seems to me that even though you're aware, okay, if finding myself in someone's side control, I may lose, your awareness of that makes you, from what I'm understanding, set up the match in a way that you won't even end up there to begin with.
Well, yeah, definitely. I think another way I've heard like it reframed was like fear is just like being uncertain about the unknown or like something like that. You
Yes.
know what I mean?
Yes.
Like it's just because you like don't know, and then because you don't know, then you're uncertain, and then like
Yes.
your mind just spirals. Like, but like
Yes.
what is really the worst that can happen, right? And then you like you keep taking steps back from there for sure. You know, for the when I start as soon as I started jujitsu, I felt guilty to do anything else because I was like, if I spend time on this, then that means I'm not studying jujitsu, which means I'm not
Yeah.
optimizing my age timeline, and therefore I'm not going to be the best black belt I'm going to be. So I was a little intense for the past couple of years, but I'm like, I like I said, I want to be an artist, so I like draw a lot.
Love
I
that.
like still draw comics. I have like a sticker business where I like draw cute sticker things that are jujitsu related now.
Okay, I
Um,
gotta look that up.
yeah.
Buttscooterjujitsu.com.
Butscooterjujitsu.com.
Okay.
Platypus, so the platypus being omoplata. And then it's crab ride. I mean, crab ride's, I guess it's a thing riding a crab. And then I've got the Barambolo. It's a bear in a bowl, but you know, Barambolo is a pun.
That is so cute.
So yeah, yeah, I make I have a bunch of side projects that are not jujitsu, but they're all like kind of jujitsu adjacent, and they're all like art related, cute stuff related. You can see the
I
back, and I've
love
got like
that.
a bunch of cute stuff against my wall. So I like, yeah, that's probably my only other hobby besides doing jujitsu.
Jujitsu. I love it. So your website, just for everyone listening, is buttscooterjujitsu.com. I'm already on the website. And then your Instagram handle, how can people best find you on Instagram and all the other social media platforms?
On Instagram, I'm Barambozo, so that's just Barambolo with a Z. And then the other important things, I train and teach at Kogain Academy, Kogaion. That is in Arlington, Virginia. There should be only one Kogaon in the United States, so hopefully it's easy to Google. And then those two main things, nothing else.
Well, you guys heard it, everyone. I'm going to make sure to link it all in the description, the Instagram, the website page of the gym, and her business website where you can find cute stickers and plushies and all kinds of fun stuff. But I'm excited that we got to talk for a little bit. What would be your biggest takeaway, I guess, for life as my final question? Your parallels between the art that is jujitsu and life. What has it done for you, for your existence, for who you're being, and what you're making of this time on the planet Earth?
Oh man, the takeaway is like, well, it's very Nike right now because of the Olympics probably. It's like just do it. You gotta like all the like things that you're scared to do, like compete or like compete at a higher level, let's say, like compared to like what you're used to, or like even just trying jujitsu. If someone here has not tried jujitsu, right? Like you gotta put yourself in the place so you're like forced to like confront that fear or like that unknown, right? You got to do things that you will have stories to talk about. So you know, I keep quoting the same person, so I just don't want to like keep saying the same quote. But you have to like put yourself into the situation where you're forced to become who you want to be, right? So do the scary thing, right? Like because I went to Miami to compete and then I decided to compete in Atlanta, I got to meet Rosalie on a happenstance, right? And so many of these like beautiful experiences happen because you put yourself in a new environment. If you stay in the same environment, the same things are going to happen. So that's my takeaway, and I'm definitely gonna continue to live by that.
I love that. I love that so much. It encourages me on my jujitsu journey as well, Beatrice, but also just in life. I love the parallels there, and I appreciate your heart. I appreciate you considering. I appreciate you being on the show and sharing a bit more into your world, all things jujitsu. And I think that there's a lot of powerful takeaways that those who practice among us, as well as those anyone, the dreams and goals you guys have, you listeners, step into that. Like Beatrice says, you have the choice. I often tell my listeners to choose life, say yes to life, and whatever that means in your respective life and in your respective circumstances. But thank you so much, Beatrice, for being on the show. You guys make sure to go check out her Instagram. I'm going to put all the links in the description below. Subscribe here, go follow her, go check out her store, stop by the gym and say hey. But I'm excited that you are on the show today. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much.